Hello and welcome to So You Think You're Awake, the show about life transformation through dream interpretation. I'm Michael Sheridan. On this show, through analysing your dreams, I reveal your potential and the obstacles you need to overcome. I'm very specific. I tell you your superpowers, what makes you magnificent, and the bumps in life that are holding you back. These bumps are not in the way, they are the way. To get your dream analysed on my show, go to dream-analysis.com, fill in the form there, send it to me, and then listen to the show to have it done. You can also download my free dictionary at dream-analysis.com and work on your own dreams, figure out what they mean. And a lot of people who send their dreams in to me do that. They say, hey, I think this is about this. So they have a bit of fun with trying to figure out the dream, send it to me, get the full analysis from me and compare it to what they already got. And I always enjoy seeing that. So remember, February 17th, I have a live webinar with Mia Astrom entitled Connect to Your Gifts and Life Purpose. And if you're on my list, you'll get the link to register for that. If you're already on my Facebook page, you already have that. Let's start off the show. I used to do this before. I would start off with feedback from people whose dreams I had done the previous week. And I'm just going to do it again for fun. I mean, I get feedback all the time and I love it. Really do. So we're going to start off with Victoria. She had a dream last week where she was bitten in the left little finger by a venomous spider. That was part of the dream anyway. And she says, "Hi Michael, wow, what a reading. I could sense your genuine concern and your interpretation really resonated. Thank you so much. It was such a beautiful gift to be validated regarding spiritual gifts." So that's good. It's great when you already are told what your gifts are and then somebody else like me comes along and says, here's what they are, and they all match. Anyway, you said, I feel a little nudge to share with you that while I was listening to your reading of the Boy Scout Law and Oath, my amazing, extraordinary son came across the veil in great presence. By the time you were talking about reverence, I could feel a spirit surround me with love. For this, I simply cannot thank you enough. My son Charles was an Eagle Scout. Terry was a mentor to him in the Boy Scouts. Okay, Terry was in the dream. When you spoke about how wonderful our country would be if we could have Medicare for all, that also deeply resonated with me. Charles died because we could not get him medical services, even though we tried time and again. And that's one of the things I do not understand about America. I mean, I'm a US citizen, but I really don't understand that, how the richest country in the world can let its citizens die for something that can easily be dealt with here. And even at the time when I was saying that, it sounds like a political thing to say that. And I wasn't saying it for politics. And after the show, I was like, I wondered why I said that. And that's why it came up at that particular time for Victoria. She says, I feel as though Charles has led me to your work. If possible, could I ask a couple of questions? Of course, always. What does it mean to be a trainee guide? Okay, well, I talk about guides all the time and channeling your guides and so on. But basically, when we come into this earth plane, it's not just like we're dropped in and then like, hey, see how it goes. We plan absolutely everything that's going to happen to us in our lives. And so we plan all the difficulties. Like I say, the obstacles are the way. So the things that are in our path and the things that we need to overcome are how we're going to grow and improve ourselves spiritually. That is, it's all about spiritually. It's the only thing we get to take with us when we die is the growth and progress we made spiritually. So our guides plan with us for years before coming here, all the various little things that are needed in our life, like who our parents are going to be, who our siblings are going to be, lots and lots of different things, the major events that are going to happen, the pitfalls we're going to experience, the traumas we're going to experience. All those things are planned by guides in the spirit plane before we ever come here. Then we come here and we have guides assigned to us who are going to help us achieve that plan. And of course, the plan is ultimately about our spiritual growth. We bring some issues that we already have that we need to overcome. We bring them with us, and our guides help us grow through those issues by using traumas as a catalyst for growth. That's really what it's about. We can choose never to grow from our traumas, And then we can come back in another lifetime and work on it again, which is what happens. Or we can choose to grow from our traumas and really step into our own power. We also bring gifts with us. And those gifts we're going to use to help other people. But generally, we have to work on our own issues before we can get to that state, before we can start helping other people. Heal our own traumas, like heal or heal thyself, if you hear that expression. So we have to work on our own traumas, get past those, then we're in a state where we can help other people, help them up the ladder we just climbed. And a trainee guide then is somebody who is finished with the earth plane. They don't need to be on the earth plane. They've already regained their awareness to a level that they're at the point where they can choose to be a guide or not. And this person chooses to be a guide. And the trainee just simply means that you're at the early stages of it. You have all the abilities that a guide has. You have all the influence. You have the access to the Akashic records. You have lots and lots of things that you can do. But you never come here as a trainee guide or a guide, because guides come here too, except to work in the spiritual field. There are definitely things that you plan to do in the spiritual field, using your gifts, and so that's really important. So did I explain what a trainee guide is? Hopefully. Quite often trainee guides will come here and live a lifetime that they helped in the planning of themselves and see, did I achieve everything I set out to achieve? Because I'm going to be helping other spirits try to achieve everything that we plan for them. And I want to have that experience to see if I'm in the dark and I have it all planned, am I still going to be able to achieve everything I achieved? Just gives that level of empathy to understand what the process is like. It's a faster way of getting there as well, coming here and living this. Your second question is, does being bitten in my hand mean that I will be using Reiki or some kind of hands-on healing? And that's a no. You won't need to, because you can heal with your mind. In your case, being bitten on the left little finger was about your heart meridian and overcoming fears that cause you to close off. Remember, you said it was a spider that pumped venom into that finger. So that's going to be about venom in your heart that you need to overcome. But the spider is about fears. It's not about something that's going to happen. But it's totally understandable to me how you could be so angry or lashing out at the system. I'm not saying you are, but I could understand how, if you were, that would make sense, because the system could have saved your son and chose not to. And also, all the other people in the country stood by and supported that system that chose not to save your son. And that's the reality of the system. It's the reality of the corruption of politics, I suppose, here. I think it's like 80% or more people at this stage want Medicare for all, and yet we don't get it. But dreams exaggerate. So when you see something like venom being pumped in, it's like, this has happened to you in your life. You have to now overcome that. And, again, remember the dreams, massive exaggeration in a dream. So overcome that, get to the point of love again, and work from that state. And that's one of the big goals in your life, is to get to that state. But you have amazing powers with your mind, my guides say. So it's almost like you can just think somebody well, when you really understand who you are. Anyway, she says, with a truly grateful heart, Victoria. So thank you for sending that in. Also, what's interesting is anybody whose dream I do on the show is invited to talk about that dream further with me on a call, including Vicky, which we've already got set up. And I send out those links. So another dream we did last week was from Jim. I loved his dream. And I said, I normally don't do dreams from people who don't answer my questions. But I did it anyway, because his dream was about Andrew Johnson's cat, the President Andrew Johnson, his cat, who didn't have a cat, but just the whole idea of it was mad. And I did it on the show. And Jim's girlfriend heard the show and said, he didn't get your email, and sent me his actual email address, and there was a typo in what he had put in on the form. So that was kind of funny. I'm glad I did it. And he gives the answers, and I'm going to cover them here because there's some interesting things to say. First question was, well, first of all, he apologizes about not connecting. Then he says, I asked him, do you have digestive system problems? And he said, not typically, but I did recently move back from Europe, and I think my gut is still adjusting. So that's a yes. Second one is, tell me a little bit about Melissa, because Melissa appeared in the dream. How would you describe her to others? And he says, Melissa is a great friend of mine and she helps me a lot. I would describe her as smart, compassionate, and deeply spiritual. She's constantly working to improve herself, especially when it comes to confidence in her abilities. That said, we also have many differences, such as my lack of spirituality, that make it difficult to be more than good friends. So that's the thing. I asked you, like the next question is, what is your view of spiritual leaders? Because the dream is about your spiritual leadership skill. And you said, I'm not sure what you mean by spiritual leaders, but I'm not particularly spiritual. And that's why Melissa's in the dream, because Melissa is actually a spiritual leader and you admire what she does, but yet you say the whole spiritual thing puts you off. That's an affliction that unfortunately mostly men have. Women are much more open to this. But you have the ability, but you may never use it because you have such a dim view of spiritual things. Then I asked, what's your view of political leaders? And you said, in general terms, I think most political leaders only care about staying in power. So I'm not a fan of most of them. And so spiritual leadership works through an open and compassionate heart. It's not the same as political leadership. But when you see leaders like our politicians who, the best phrase is, the only thing they stand for is re-election, then it'll put you off the whole idea of leadership, and it taints your whole view of spiritual leadership, which is not the same. Spiritual leadership is about actually helping people in their time of need, really helping them and digging deep and helping them so that they don't need your help anymore. You know, that you've empowered them. They're ready to move forward in life and they're not going to encounter that problem again. Or if they do, you've given them the tools and the help to overcome it next time around. Anyway, that's your skill. You've got that skill. Nothing to do with spiritual or political leaders or leaders who abuse their power. So you've got to fix your view of that. But will you ever do it? We do not know. I got a question from JS via YouTube. He said, I would much like to hear more about entities and how they show up in dreams. Okay, so I did talk about entities in a show recently, and I said I don't normally do it, which I don't. It's not a pleasant subject. And I said if there's enough of a reaction, positive reaction to it, I will cover it on a later show. Well, JS is just one of many people who wrote it and said they'd love to hear more. So I will do it on a later show at some point. He asks why they are used by bad actors, and can we do anything on our own if they are attached? Can they detach on their own for some reason? So the short answer is yes, they can detach on their own if they want, but they usually don't want to, because they view you as a food source. Not that they're eating your body, but they're using your energy. And so they will stay around you for as long as they can, decades and decades and decades. People who channel angels, especially archangels, are usually very capable of clearing these from you. And once cleared, they don't come back. I mean, you can try get them back. Some people that get them are people who practice channeling and things like that without really having the experience and not in a sacred space and all that sort of stuff. So some people get them that way. But they're never anything to be afraid of. You know, it's best to look at them almost like as a child, but albeit a very angry child, because they want you angry. They need negative emotions for them to feed, because negative emotions are much lower vibration and they don't have a high vibration, so they need you at that lower vibration. So they generally try to keep you low. Bad actors use them just malevolently on people. It's not too common, you know. I see it. I come across it because of the line of work I do, and I just send those people for healings to people that I know can clear them, and they get cleared. But people who are also fantastic channels, they can have them, and the entities will tend to stay out of the way and let them do their channeling and try to hide, because they just want to stay there. But it's all part of the system. This is a thing that's important to realize. The whole idea that you can get entities and have to clear them is part of what you have to learn to do. And so the more your life becomes a spiritual life where you're working in the spiritual field, usually the more you lean into having to learn how to deal with entities and protect yourself and so on, because that's just part of the reality of existence, not existence on the physical plane and spirit plane. So it's not like, oh, this is a really malevolent thing to do. We come here to let go of darkness. Entities can only attach to us if we have darkness in some way. And so they play a purpose in showing us that we have something we need to deal with. I don't like it. I don't, but that's just how it is. And it's up to us then to learn or do exercises that is going to raise our vibration to the point where entities can't even come near us, which is eventually what we do. Anyway, let's move on. Let's do some dreams. This one comes from Melissa. It's the same Melissa, and it's entitled Red and White Fiat. So even just from the title, it's lovely. The title is lovely. And the colors, red and white, they're a really energizing color in dreams. You wake up from a dream with red and white feeling fantastic. There's no other way to wake up. And the Fiat, because it's made in Italy, is about the heart. So it's really an energizing dream for the heart, asking Melissa to have faith and confidence in her future. And like I said, it's not just a request. We wake up from these dreams with this already. Here's the dream. I was at what seemed maybe like an Airbnb. So that tells you to relax, have fun with it. We'll know what the it is in a moment. But at the same time, it's also about not really having fully found yourself. So you've discovered a lot about yourself, but there's more for you to discover. And why? Because it's not a permanent home. You say, Louis, my German Shepherd and I were going to go outside to the pool. So the pool is about spirituality. It's also about life. And the German Shepherd tells us you're a spiritual leader. And I already said that in the comments before, because, Jesus, it was the shepherd, it's in that way. And so you're, and you have German in your blood, so we ignore the German. So you're a spiritual leader. And you say, as we did, a red and white Fiat came up the driveway towards us. So this is really good. So this is something you have to face because it's coming towards you in the dream. And you said, when I looked back, I could see easily into the back seat. I think maybe the top was down, even though it didn't look like a convertible as it came up the drive. So that's about opening your mind. It's also about channeling usually because, convertible. There was a large white and tan dog in the back seat. And that's about the need to overcome issues to do it, not viewing physical life as practical. That's really what that's about. Like wondering how stupid the design of this system is. And that, of course, comes from your experiences. So I'm not knocking that you've had experiences that make you think that. But that's what you need to overcome. Those things that happened to you were by design. Nothing was accidental about them. And so you having to overcome that whole viewpoint is part of what you're here for. And you say, Louis noticed the dog and got riled up a bit. You also have the ability to communicate with animals, which is why you have animals showing up in your dreams. But that's not really what this dream is about. We just use what we use, we're familiar with and comfortable with in our dreams. And that's what you're doing. But that's the meaning of your dream. I don't think I've left anything out, but thanks for sending that in, Melissa. Here's a dream from Kat called the Ganges. So the Ganges is the most sacred river in the Hindu tradition. And if you look up Wikipedia, it'll tell you it's understood as a personification of the goddess Ganga. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. Hindu belief holds that bathing in the river on certain occasions causes the forgiveness of transgressions and helps attain salvation. It's a bit like the Catholic confession box. That's my own description, not anything I ever read. But it's more than just like the forgiveness of transgressions, forgiveness of sins, let's say. It's about letting go of karma. That's the whole point of bathing in the river. And the idea is you will be forgiven for 10 sins or sins over 10 lifetimes. That's the whole idea. So the tradition allows for reincarnation and bringing things into this lifetime from other lifetimes. And so that's what the Ganges is about. And that's the title of Kat's dream. So we already have an idea here. She says, I see green leaves blowing in the wind. So that's going to be about the heart and feeling a bit like you're blowing in the wind. I see a river like the Ganges with walls. Walls are also about the heart on either side, and many people bathing or sitting along the banks. And that's why I talked about the bathing in the river, what it means. There's a woman in the water who's preparing to start a new journey in her life. So this is about you. So healing, letting go of all the previous karma, and now starting off on a new journey. Rivers are about life too, as well as spirituality. She makes a cut, perhaps at her feet, to signify that she's becoming a dolphin. And she starts swimming what I know will be a long distance with a little stream of blood behind her. So that's good. The dolphin's about channeling. You're a channel. And the incision, it seems like a negative thing in a dream, but blood is also about spirituality. So it's an incision that allows you to express your spirituality. And if it's connected with the feet, it's about how to move forward in a spiritual way. And even that's what you talk about. That's the theme here. So that's quite positive. So you're going to move forward with channeling, and you're going to go some distance with this. It's going to take you a lot of places. And normally I would say long distance in a dream is negative, but it's not in this one. You say she stops because she sees a poster for a talk from a guru as she passes under a bridge. She goes inside. I know this guru has influenced many people I know in synchronistic ways that changed their lives. So this is saying that as you move forward on your path as a channel, allow yourself to be influenced in synchronistic ways as you go. And that's exactly it. So don't say, this is me going forward. You have to stay open to the influence. Obviously, spiritual leadership is in there because of the guru. We also see the bridge. You are a psychologist or a counselor, same kind of thing. The bridge is about that, but the bridge is also about channeling. So you've got quite a mix of things. The poster is also important. The poster is about influencing, and that's what you talk about. So it's interesting. That's what posters are about. If you look up in my book, Dream Interpretation book, How to Interpret Your Dreams and Discover Your Life Purpose. I never talk about that, but it is available on Amazon, by the way. And so you have that poster show up in the dream and then talk about this guru influencing people. So you also have the ability to influence people. And that's really important for you going forward in your life on this new path. But I like it. I like it because of the starting in the Ganges. So this dream, next dream is entitled Woman, and it is from Kelly. And she says, the lady from the dream is someone I know. She's a doctor. Okay. In my dream, I'm driving a convertible on a highway, but I see a woman with a dog trying to cross the highway. I stop my car and let her pass. She walks halfway and turns around like she changed her mind or something. I then turn left and park my car in my neighborhood where I grew up. I see the lady with the dog again, so I walk up to her and she tells me I should park somewhere else so I don't get a ticket. I like this dream, and we've had Kelly on the show before talking about her dreams. The dog is a good representation for the body, but I don't like the woman deciding to not go all the way, to commit to her plan. And she's showing you by example. She's a guide because she speaks with authority in the dream. So it's saying you need to commit to your plan. You need to go forward all the way in your life, achieve everything that you came here to achieve. You need to heal. What do you need to do? You need to heal your childhood, because you go to where your childhood, a symbolic representation of your childhood, and park your car. So you need to heal that. Don't stay there. Don't park yourself there. You'll incur karma for that. And karma is not just in this lifetime. So karma is the theme of this dream, this show for sure. Karma is not just for this lifetime. Things you decide, hey, you know what? I'm not going to bother. You're going to work on them in the next lifetime. And it can be even more difficult the next time around. You take away some of your freedoms because you're like, yeah, when we planned this out before, and I came here before, when I had too much freedom, I didn't do anything. So don't give me all of that. Make it more obvious that this is all I can do. So anyway, that's what you need to do. Heal issues around mom from childhood. And I know your mom is super, super positive for you now. Why do I know that? Because you were on the show talking about fighting cancer. And the dream is about your heart, by the way. So not where you have any cancer. It's about healing your heart, working on issues that allow you to open your heart and commit to life and enjoy life. And I do not know what it's like to be fighting your fight. I've no understanding of it at all. But I do know a lot of people who have survived that battle, including close friends. And the closest person to me just changed and became more selfish. And that seems backwards, but it's not. He asked the doctors, what are the traits of people who survive and live full lives afterwards? And they shared that those people don't suffer fools. They stop doing what other people want them to do. They drop friends who are not really any good to them, and they don't placate anybody. They live the life they want to live and are happy to live. And so that's what I think is going to be key for you, that it's about you living your life, the life you want, not trying to do what other people want. Yes, your doctors, your mom, others who love you and care for you are influencing you now to fight and be healthy. Absolutely, take that, take their energy, take their love. But really the dream is saying, this is what you need to do. This is one of the goals in your life that you need to overcome. Another dream from Layla, and I've carried this one around for a few weeks, but this one's called Dimension Travel. It was like I was inside a big white building. A few others were there too. I felt like I was the main female lead of some drama or movie. Movie shooting was happening there. So this says that you are a spiritual leader because you're the main lead. You're also a channel, because actors are one of the great symbols for channeling in dreams. I remember two of my male classmates, of course, two, because two stands out for channeling all the time. But you're also too male. That's what this dream is saying, that you're too male. You're 15. Don't worry about things. This is often why I don't do dreams for people who are young, because you're meant to live your life with the problems, with the views you have. Like, try it out for a while, then see what you think, and then decide what changes you're going to make. But this one has a lot of gifts, so I'm including it there. You say we are not friends, so that means you got to work on your male side. One of them is blocking people and told me to run somewhere, so your male side blocks you. Male side is to do with many things: confidence, belief in yourself, feeling worthy, but it's also to do with being rational and in your mind and thinking about things. And that's what it is for you. You need to not be in your mind as much as you are. Then I went to my friend's house. She was glad to see me. We went to her garden. That means you weren't welcomed at birth and you didn't get the love you needed. And that's what you need to fix. Because we don't say, hey, I went to a friend and she was happy to see me. If she's a friend, you would expect that. There was some kind of vampire plant which bit me and I fainted and was bleeding. So this is about where you get love, the garden. Somebody has influenced you negatively. They've projected their mind on you in a negative way. And that's what the vampire plant is about. When I opened my eyes after fainting, I was alone on a plain grass field cycling fast. So again, about the heart, because of the green grass field and the cycling. I can see a huge mirror and I just went in it. So you look at life very much from the outside, almost as if life in the mirror is as real as the life you're in. You're not happy here, but this is how you channel also. You connect through portals. They look like moving purple tunnels with a cloud-like quality. So you're a counselor as well. So your gifts are you're a channel, you're a projector, and you're a counselor. I returned to the same building I was in. Everybody was mocking me for something. So this is how you feel. You're not happy in life. I was then reading something with another person. My cousin saw this and took a pic and sent it to my mom. So working around issues with your mom is what's needed. That's going to help you heal the male side, get out of your head. You talk about being dizzy. Then you talk about somebody holding someone by the neck in the air. And this was the person, the classmate who blocked people. That means that you were hanged in a former life by this person, or could have had the umbilical cord around your neck at birth, because the person is looking at you when he did it. Doesn't mean attack this person because of what I've just said. And the umbilical cord around your neck is also another way to connect you with a lifetime where you were hanged. Anyway, there we go. Really bizarre to finish on that, especially because of your age. And that's it. That's my show for this week. I will see you next week. Please send me your dreams. Bye.